The following is a Journey into Comics Network production.
Good luck.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Addicts Podcast, the show where we talk about the modern and retro video games that we play and collect. I am your host, Brando. Joining me here today, as always, is this podcast player too, Mike.
How's it going?
It is going fantastic here today. Welcome to the show. If this is your first time, we sit around and we talk about video games. That is what we do.
Retro and modern.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of what I said in the beginning, man. We talk about modern news too, but there are times where we like to sit back and we just gush about stuff. And
As I drop Dr. Mario.
Don't drop Dr. Mario.
I know.
But see, we have this series called Retrospective that we started, and what's cool about it is that we do a whole episode about a topic. A game series, we've done Zelda, we've done Mario, we've done Final Fantasy,
Yep.
We've done systems, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, PS2, Xbox 360. But there's one we haven't done.
And to me, it is one of the most important ones.
Yes. Now, we are, of course, talking about the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System. This is why we're sitting here talking today, to be honest with you.
Yes, this is it, right here.
The system saved gaming in this country.
100%.
There was the video game crash of the 80s during the Atari era. The Atari era.
Area?
The Atari era. All the REs and areas. Get your tongue all worked around. The Atari era, man, there was no policing the quality of games. So you had this influx of games that would just be released on the system. And Atari allowed everything, and that led to people. It's like a backlash. People stopped buying it.
Right.
So the games were getting sold, and ultimately it led to what we call the crash. And then it seemed like that video games were a phase and they were out. Kind of like the big Christmas fad of one year, like the Tickle Me Elmos or the Tamagotchis or Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies.
All video games are just this and that. Okay, yeah, they're over. And that's when the NES came out here. But, of course, it came out before that in Japan. I actually have the Wikipedia up. Hopefully no one changes because we were doing an episode of Journey to Wrestling over there, the Journey to Comics Network, that we are an affiliate of. It has its own feed. And we do the wrestling show over there. Well, somebody had changed it's Wikipedia, so you could just submit changes. Somebody changed something to something that wasn't even true. And we were reading it like live on air. We're like, well, this isn't right.
But at least you know.
Well, right. We were just talking about it. We're like, wait a minute. So the NES was released in Japan as the Nintendo Family Computer, or Famicom, in July of 1983. July 15th, to be precise. 83.
It's before my time.
And it didn't get released in North America until October 18th, 1985.
So I wasn't even a year old then.
I wasn't even born yet. I was born in 86. But this the system was released in test markets, and it was the reason why it was successful was because it marketed itself differently than traditional video game products in North America.
Right.
It marketed itself as a toy first, and that's why it's called the entertainment system, not the Nintendo gaming system.
Right.
So they designed the look of the original console to look differently than a thing that you plug cartridges into. It looks more like a VCR.
Yes.
And of course, it has our little flap that comes up here. The games go in. I'll just grab one here, and they go in. You push them in until they click in with the contacts in there. In order for you to turn it on, you have to press it down.
Yep.
And then there you are. Press the button. You're off to the races if it boots up.
Yes. These are very troublesome systems as they get older.
Well, yes. Due to the design of how they did this system, you're plugging it into a pair of contacts in there that then goes into it has the contacts is like this little plastic piece in there where the pins then go down, they bend down, and they go into another an output. It's almost like a converter.
Right.
You're just passing it through to get to the motherboard. And yeah, so like the system here is pretty big. It's pretty flat. It's pretty funny because the design of this system influenced the design of the Super Nintendo and Super Famicom.
Yes.
Because what could you do with this system? Place your pop on there, place your drink on it. So what do you think happened to a lot of these systems?
Yeah,
Fried, it got knocked over. So when you look at the Super Nintendo or Super Famicom system, they're kind of made to where you can't do that. And of course, we have another system here that we're going to talk about a little bit more in a bit, but it kind of does the same thing. There's a little area right here where you can do it, but then it's more. I mean, number one, it's too small to really do it anyway. Yeah. But yeah, we'll talk about that system a little bit later. But of course, what came with the system was Rob the Robot. I don't have Rob.
The original system,
right? The original box was Rob the Robot, and it connected to it, and you had these games that like. Interacted with it. It was just weird, man. It was like they were really going the extra step. And of course, the next box set that came out though focused on this.
Arguably, probably one of the games that just with the Zapper with Mario and Duck Hunt.
Of course, both games released individually. But
yes.
Then later on, you got the bundle that came with the double cart. And
this is what mine was when I.
Mm-hmm. See, I never owned an NES back in the day. I played the crap out of it. My cousins had it, friends had it, but I never owned it because my first system was a Super Nintendo.
Right.
But I played the crap out of this. Because,
yes.
I mean, you had Mario, then you had Duck Hunt. I mean, now on modern day TVs, if you hook this up, it will not. You can't play Duck Hunt. It doesn't work.
Right.
It's something with the old tube TVs that it with the infrared on the gun, it doesn't work.
Right.
Now they did. What's cool is that Nintendo did do a re-release of Duck Hunt on the Wii U. Is it the Wii or the Wii U? I can't remember. But you used the Wiimote and actually had a little reticle on the screen.
Huh.
So like they kind of like went in and they made it playable.
Right.
But okay, so there's the whole Duck Hunt. There's a whole Zapper thing. Now the Zapper, the original run, it was gray.
Yes.
Now think about it, like the Mothers of America or whatever it was, they're like your parents. They were a little concerned with packing a gun for their little kids to be playing with, thinking it's okay to shoot. And they actually did another run of these that was all orange.
That's the one I had.
That was like where this is gray, it's all orange, and then like the trigger was black or something to offset it.
Something like that.
I looked to see because I have two Zappers and both of them are this color.
The original grays.
Yeah, so I don't have one of the orange ones, but then you have Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers. Now, of course, Mario had been around in the video game industry prior to that.
Right.
And Donkey Kong as Jumpman, and then you had the Mario Brothers arcade game, which both of those came to the system. We talked about that on the Super Mario retrospective. But Super Mario Brothers, along with the NES, revolutionized gaming because you had what would eventually just become the new standard bearer for platforming gaming.
Yes.
It's pretty crazy because they were working and they were just you would see the levels made out on graph paper, and then Shigeru Miyamoto made this game, and it's a masterpiece when it comes to gaming. Of course, they would improve on the model over the years.
To come to what I believe and many gamers of this era would believe is one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know in what order to go in for some of these. I think we might just be working our way around the table and telling some stories. Because we talked about Super Mario Brothers 2, and in the Super Mario Brothers retrospective itself, of course, the version we got in America
is not
Super Mario Brothers 2.
Right.
That we didn't get that until the All Stars on Super Nintendo,
right? And
that was called Lost Levels.
Yes.
But we ended up getting a port of Doki Doki Panic with Mario stuff painted in, and it's an odd game.
Still a fun game.
It's fun, but it's my least favorite out of all of them.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
It's cool though because I actually have all of the manuals for these. Like,
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
it's just so cool. And then of course,
The game that I'm talking about.
Super Mario Brothers 3.
This game just in this era, if a game like that came out, I mean, nobody would care. But in this system, it was everything.
Well, think about it.
Everybody owned this game that I knew.
I mean, it was an instant classic because it took the original model of Mario Brothers, of Super Mario Brothers, and it took it to the very next level. This is the sequel. This is the true sequel for North American gamers to the original Super Mario Brothers. Right. You know, it took it to the the tippy top of the next level. Of course, you have the Koopa Troopa kids and all that stuff, but then you have all the different power ups and the suits, the secrets, the whistles, all that kind of stuff, and it's all crammed into here. And I want to say this was released in 1990. I think it's what we talked about last time.
I think we did look it up. I believe that
because this was like
90 or 91.
Yeah, this was at the time like a swan song for this console, even though the console wouldn't actually be discontinued until later. What I mean is that the Super Nintendo was on the verge of coming out.
Right.
And it says here that in North America, the Nintendo was completely discontinued in August 14th, 1995. So 10 years on the market. In Japan, it was discontinued September 25th, 2003.
Wow.
They were still making Famicoms.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. The system has a worldwide sales of 61 million, or 61.91 million. 19.35 of those is in Japan. 34 million of those are in North America, and 8.5
That's amazing.
in others.
Especially in a time when consoles, gaming was on the decline, hard, and this is it. I mean, this is why we're here today. Like you said, yeah.
A little bit of trivia for you.
Okay.
What is the best-selling game on the console?
Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers.
Yep, because it was a pack-in.
Yep.
And it sold 40.23 million copies as of 1999.
I believe it.
Super Mario Brothers 3, I don't know if this is in order or anything, but it just on Wikipedia has the 3. Super Mario Brothers 3 as a pack-in also was 18 million, and Super Mario Brothers 2 was never pack-in at 10 million. And you have a lot of classic games that started on this system. A lot of games that have gone on to make other entries, and we enjoyed a renaissance of sorts.
We were way off.
What's that?
I'm gonna look at the wiki on this, but it says that Super Mario Brothers 3 was released October 23rd, 1988.
In Japan.
Right.
Because I know in North America it wasn't released until like 90 or 89.
90.
Yeah.
February 12th, 1990.
Yep.
For American release. North
Count it.
America. Which was 3 days after my birthday.
And you would have been.
And I got it.
Oh,
yes.
It was like.
I want to say that was my birthday present, and you know what's funny? My parents played it way more than I did. Way more.
That is awesome. Moving right along, though, we did a retrospective on this series as well, but we're going to talk about Zelda.
Yes.
Originally, Legend of Zelda. You want to talk about like playing something for the time that was just completely, utterly groundbreaking, having that big open world.
Yes.
If you do explore around it. Of course, nowadays that world is minuscule.
Yes.
But I actually went through it for the first time and completely beat the game in 2015. Buddy, they don't give you any direction. You have to go.
No.
You have to go explore it yourself. And it was sort of like what they did with Breath of the Wild, even though they kind of give you, go this way, go. But they leave it up to you.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of cool that they brought that back. Original Legend of Zelda. Zelda 2, Adventure of Link. I don't really like this game as much.
Not very many people do.
It's the oddball. Some people love it. They're like, dude, I love the fact that it's an oddball of it, but I'm not a big fan of it's like you know how they did with, like, you had Mario Brothers, and Mario Brothers 2, Doki Doki Panic, was like a completely departure from what the first one was.
Right.
Do something new and different. I think it's what they tried to do with this.
Yeah.
When really, if they would have done like what Zelda 3,
Yes.
Link to the Past is, where it's like take the original formula and just make it bigger, better, and badder. Imagine if, like, of course we got it with Link to the Past, but imagine if they would have done what they did with Mario Brothers and Mario Brothers 3 for original Legend of Zelda on the NES. It would have been big.
It's true.
But I actually, I was gifted Adventure of Link before I even got my NES.
This needs to be the next game we talk about.
Oh, okay. I was actually going to talk about the game that I got gifted with that.
Oh, go ahead.
Because I got Zelda 2 and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out as a gift from a guy at work.
Yeah.
It was Aaron, and he goes, I found these in the garage in a box, and I don't have anything to play them on. I know you want them. No charge.
Yep.
So I had them for a while. Then when I got my NES, they didn't work. So I cleaned the crap out of them, and they work now. And I thought that was pretty cool. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, it's an awesome game.
But before we go, I had to say somewhere, do not lick cartridges. It's like the do not lick the contacts of the cartridges. Or is it on 64 that they stated that?
I don't know if it says something about not getting them wet. But yeah, like, you're not supposed to blow on them, even though that's what we all do.
Yes,
when it doesn't work, it's an instant. It's like,
everybody does it.
Yeah, but then they work, and I don't understand it.
Who knows?
But Final Fantasy, the original Final Fantasy, it's where it all started for Square. I mean, this was their last ditch effort,
Yep.
And of course, with I'm trying to remember his name now. The guy that made Final Fantasy, I just talked about him the other day. Sakaguchi.
Sakaguchi, yep.
Hironobu Sakaguchi came in, made basically a video game version of Dungeons and Dragons is what this is.
Yes.
And you select your party right at the beginning of the game. You select your classes. You can do a mixture. You can do all white mages if you want. Good luck.
Yeah. You'll never die, but you'll never kill anything.
Never. I mean, it'd take you forever. But there's very little story to this version, for the original game. But we never saw another Final Fantasy on this console in North America.
Right.
2 and 3 were released in Japan only for the Famicom. And then the next one we got, Final Fantasy 2, was actually Final Fantasy 4. Was the first game that was on the Super NES. So, very unfortunate, because it would have been cool to have the other ones. Right. Because Dragon Warrior, it's right over here. Right over there, which is basically like, I want to say Dragon Warrior was released first, but I don't know for sure. This is basically Dragon Quest, but over here that was copyrighted at the time. And it's another RPG. And it was like the main competitor. Like, these two were like fighting for dominance, like in Japan. And we ended up getting most of, if not all of, the Dragon Warrior games over here for the NES. And these were made by Enix at the time. Of course, Square Enix now, right?
Yeah.
So now they own both, and they've monopolized that. But very different, because it's more of a Dragon Warrior is more of a simplified screen where you just see the enemies and you attack it. It tells you how much damage it does.
Right.
Very similar in style to the first Phantasy Star that was over there on the Master System. But that would be something cool to collect for. But again, as we've said here on the podcast before, there's not a lot of Sega stuff in our area.
No.
Except for that Lunar Star. Or Lunar Silver Star on Sega CD.
Yeah.
That was at our local disc replay.
We pointed it out, we're both looking at it like, man, that'd be a great piece.
Man, how much was that? Was that like $70?
$70, 60, $70, something like that.
Ouch. Man, that's just too much for...
It is.
Considering I have 2 copies of the game on 2 other consoles.
Yeah.
I've got the PSP one and I've got the PS1, yeah. What do you want to talk about next?
Let's go with let's start going through some of the big hits. So,
okay.
Let's do Excite Bike.
Excite Bike. So, around this time, they made a bunch of games, and they all had like the same kind of logo. Like you had this one, you had Kung Fu.
Yep.
And it would tell you like kind of the genre down here. Like this says, okay, this says programmable series, but you would see like a different logo down here.
Right.
But Excite Bike was one of those ones where like I thought this game was really like the racing games back in the day were hard for me.
Yes.
And of course you kind of had to like not wreck on the track and whatnot. And what's funny is that I actually played more of this on the NES remix than I did on the NES back in the day.
Me and my dad played that a lot.
Because what I ended up playing was RC Pro Am. I got a funny story about this.
It's a great game.
Dude, it's hard for me to get. Like, once I'm actually into it and I know I know what I'm doing, it's cool. But, so, I got introduced to this game when I was very, very little. And I actually remember it very vividly. And the reason is that I was one of the very first times I ever spent the night at my aunt and uncle's. It may have been the first time I ever spent the night anywhere.
Huh.
I know because I cried my eyes out. I don't know where my parents are going. I don't know what they were doing. But I didn't ring in with me that I was staying there. And I think I got distracted. They were distracting me so they could try and leave. That way it wouldn't be a big deal.
Right.
But when I realized they were gone, I had a meltdown. And I cried for, to me, what felt like hours.
Right.
But it was probably like 10 minutes. So I actually ended up like completely wetting myself. So distraught. She had to, my aunt had to like draw me a bath and everything. And once I got out of the bath, my cousins were in there playing Nintendo, and they were playing RC Pro Am. And they let me play, and they were laughing because I kept driving in circles. Because I couldn't like I sucked at it. I wasn't good. But that's honestly one of my very first memories of playing Nintendo ever was playing RC Pro Am. And I just remembered like they were trying to like keep me distracted from the point of the fact that my parents were gone.
Right.
And it's so weird, like the things that you do remember, and then all the other stuff that you don't.
Right.
But being a gamer now, and of course, like in my formative years, playing RC Pro Am back that night was probably it was so much fun, even though I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I remember when I bought the game, and I put it in, and I just smiled. I'm like, it brought back a lot of memories, and I was so little. I have very few memories of when I was little, but that's one of them, and it's one that just kind of flooded back to me.
Huh.
So what you got? Like, where you want to go?
Well, we've got one of my... Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Yeah. So, Metroid. I love this game and I hate it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
This game took about 8 to 12 hours to beat, primarily because you had to traverse through extremely long tunnel systems. This game I've never actually fully beaten. I've only got to the very end. Obviously, this game didn't really start, but it kind of started the different power-up style like Castlevania, and then Castlevania kind of made it better, and then Super Metroid came out and it became Metroidvania. Like I said, I didn't play this game until after I got a PlayStation from the neighbor. So, but this series is my favorite series. Metroid 2 is the one that really fired it up for me. But this is a great game. It's if you can get through what seemingly feels like an 8-mile crawl up a hill, up a tunnel. If you can get past that, it's a really good game. can't really say it changed stuff because, I mean, you had Mega Man. It was kind of like a mix between Mega Man and Super Mario, kind of, where you got power-ups, but you kept the power-ups in this one.
Well, I mean, yeah, because when you talk about Mega Man, I only have the first one because you actually got me this as a gift for being in your wedding.
Yes.
And I've been needing to get the other ones. Mega Man 2 is like the cheapest, like $20, and then they go from there. This one, I think, is about, what, 50?
50.
And then I think I found Mega Man 5 or 6 for 60 or 70.
Yeah, they go up.
And so Mega Man is one of the harder platforming games you'll ever play.
Yep.
It is trial and error. Almost, it's timing. It's very difficult to master. I've never mastered Mega Man, but I love playing Mega Man. It's something that I remember playing Mega Man 2, I want to say it was, back when I was a kid. At like my cousin's house, because when I was a little bit older, not the time that I was like crying my eyes out playing RC Program, but they had moved to another city, and I would go over there and I would spend the night not crying this time. And like,
yeah, because you knew you were going to play games.
Dude, that's exactly what it was, dude. And then they had a bunch of games, and I remember playing Mega Man and just loving it. And it was so hard, and it's not just that I was a kid. It's so hard now sometimes to go through these damn levels and play them. But what I liked about playing Mega Man is that when you beat the robot bosses, the robot masters, you get their power ups, and then you can use that power up to beat the next one. Each robot master is weak to another one, so if you figure it out, you can kind of go in there and stomp them. So
yes, I remember mine was when was his dog introduced?
Oh,
was it 4 or 6? I want to say 6.
All right.
I think that was
I'm looking it up.
First one I ever played. I can't recall.
I'm looking it up right now.
I'm trying to think of his dog's name.
Rush.
I knew it. I just couldn't.
He introduced in Mega Man 3.
Oh, that's the one I played then. You could call him in as like a springboard.
Yes.
Yep.
And then he's in the new one, Mega Man 11. They showed that. It was pretty cool. So you want to talk about Castlevania?
I figured that you would.
So I only have Castlevania 1 and 2. I'm missing the third one. I haven't got that yet. Castlevania 2, it seems like a lot more people have played for some reason. I don't understand that. I think Castlevania 2 is the one that changed from night to day. But I played Castlevania 1 more than I ever did.
1 is, yeah.
And of course, it's that big, slow, walking, whipping.
Yep.
It's another platforming game.
Yes.
But it's a different kind of one.
Very similar to Metroid.
In a way, and eventually the two styles would sort of kind of come together around in the mid '90s with Super Metroid, and then Symphony of the Night. Would come together. But Simon's Quest. I actually got this. When I got it, I'm like, oh, I played that, and then I realized, did I really? And then when I bought the OG, and I realized that's the one that I actually played a lot more. And then, of course, on the Super Nintendo, I played the crap out of Super Castlevania 4. Yeah. So I don't really have much else to say about the Castlevanias other than they are ones to get. Oh, and they have and I'm sure you've seen them. They actually have the NES flasks.
Yes.
And in this Castlevania is Castle Vodka.
Yeah, Castle Vodka.
And it's in Super Brew Brothers.
Yeah.
And Zelda 2 Legend of Drink. Or something like that. Yeah. A lot of fun.
We can talk about whatever next. Those are the only ones other than Battletoads and Contra.
Okay. So, I'm a huge Metal Gear fan.
Yes.
So, I had to collect the Metal Gears. And I played the original Metal Gear. But it was I didn't really like it because it wasn't like Contra's where you can run around and shoot. It was hard. So I didn't really grasp it because it's a stealth game, right?
Right.
And these were released by Ultra, which was Konami's other company. NES had a quality assurance, and that every game that you see that has a seal of quality means that they feel like that game has met the qualifications for coming onto their system. And when you're developing games for the system, you were only able to make 4 or 5 games a year.
Right.
And that's it. Well, some game companies made a lot more than that. So then you had companies like Konami. They made Ultra, which is a subsidiary of Konami, and they would use that to make games like Metal Gear, like Turtles and stuff like that. Which I didn't bring my Turtles games, but I have 1 and 2 of those. But
Great games.
I mean, awesome games. But Metal Gear.
I do have Turtles.
Oh,
Right there.
right over there.
Yeah.
But Metal Gear now, Metal Gear on the NES is a port of the one on the MSX, but it's also not the same game. You don't actually fight Metal Gear in this one. You find a giant computer. So it differs. And then this one is not called Metal Gear 2. It's just called Snake's Revenge. But it is the unofficial Metal Gear 2. Basically, Hideo Kojima made Metal Gear. I was like, all right, that's cool. I'm on to other things. And then somebody congratulated him on the release of Metal Gear 2. He was like in an elevator or something, and he's just like, hey, congratulations. And then he goes, huh?
What?
And he's like, I didn't make a Metal Gear 2. So then he started asking around and looked into it, and Konami of America or whatever it was, Ultra, they decided to just take the IP and make a sequel to it without asking him, without even doing anything. And he was like, and then he saw the game and he goes, well, that's crap. He didn't like it.
Do you think that's where the bad blood started?
Maybe. But then he went in and made his own game, Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake.
Which is revered as...
I mean, for back then, basically...
Fucking amazing.
It never got released over here until much, much later on the Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. You got the original MSX versions of Metal Gear and then Metal Gear 2. But what he did from Metal Gear 2 was essentially it was a 2D version of Metal Gear Solid. He was able to crawl on his belly. He was able to equip items. He was able to try, like you play the game. It had the little radar up in the corner.
Yep.
It was
Unless you're on hard mode.
Yeah, it was the precursor to Metal Gear Solid. And then when he made Metal Gear Solid, he just kind of made a 3D version of Metal Gear 2 and kind of like improved upon it.
Right.
So, but yeah, these are really cool games to get. I mean, you don't get Snake's Revenge unless you just want to own it for your collection.
Right.
But there's that. We can talk about Contras. I had a lot of fun playing Contra.
Yes.
And I have Super C. And then I don't know if there's another one. Contra Force is another game I think that's on the NES. I don't have that. But yeah, dude, big guns, running along, just shooting everything. And that's as a kid playing like Contra, that's easy. That's fun.
Contra, I've never beat Contra. I've always made it to the last guy and died. Or the last alien thing, whatever you want to call it. Never beat it all the way.
I never beat the NES games. I did have Operation C for my Game Boy, and I beat that a long time ago. Bubble Bobble.
Bubble Bobble.
I brought Bubble Bobble basically because it's a cool little puzzler, and Bubble Bobble 2 is expensive.
Yeah.
I actually have a list of the most expensive games. We're gonna find it.
I bet that's on that list.
It is Bubble Bobble Part 2. Is the going rate for that is $287.
Nope.
Ouch. Ouchies. You want to talk about Battletoads?
Let's do the Toads.
Battletoads. Of course, it's made by Rare. It's one of their early IPs. I mean, they made games before this. This is available on Rare Replay for newer gamers if you have an Xbox One.
Yes.
You can get the original Battletoads. A lot of fun. A cool little beat 'em up. The cycle stage, and the most notorious for just being so hard. If you ever watch the Angry Video Game Nerd, he had a whole like segment on that. It's awesome.
Well, I remember if you could beat the cycle stage, you were
good.
You're phenomenal because that's where everybody stopped at because you literally had to play it hundreds of times to memorize every single platform, where it was at, where to dodge, where to jump.
Well, and once you got past that, the game was not easy, but easier because you didn't have another stage like that.
No, that was the last one, I believe.
Well, it was pretty early on in the game, but you didn't have another one that was like that. That was certain death for you. I remember being 2-player and you can actually beat up your buddy.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucked because then you got those guys that just want to beat you up.
I like when you get the pole. You break the little, like, large, tall
Yeah.
things with the eyeball. You beat down and get the little poles.
I always liked when they got that really big fist.
Yeah.
And they beat him up. Batman. Absolutely. Dude, this is a pretty cool game. This is like, not quite like Mega Man, but there are things here that make me think of Mega Man. I like the whole bouncing off the wall aspect. The game was pretty hard, but I also dig the soundtrack for this game too. But Batman's pretty cool. That they have Batman Return of the Joker on the NES as well. We're running down to. Yeah, let's talk about this one because you don't know what.
I have no idea what this is.
This game is called Go-Go 13. This is like based upon some like spy. I don't know if it's a book or a comic book, but this game, you actually have to like some segments you are playing it as a side scroller shooter, and there's some segments where you have to have this plugged into player 2 and you have to use your zapper.
Huh.
Yeah. Different.
It is.
And there's some other games that do that too. I don't know if it's I can't think of what it is.
The thing with Nintendo, innovation.
Yeah, dude, trying to do new stuff.
Think about this. This system introduced a lot of stuff that still hasn't been ever repeated by anyone other than Nintendo.
Well, I mean,
trackpad.
The trackpad, and you kind of had something like that with like the it's also Nintendo, but like the Wii Fit board.
And then you had the Power Glove.
Oh my gosh, the Power Glove.
Nobody has ever used a Power Glove.
Not not legitimately. It's very difficult. It's ridiculous how mind-numbingly stupid that damn thing can be.
Yes.
I actually don't own one. I've actually had the opportunity to pick one up, but it was just like it was too rich for my blood because, as you said, I'd be having it for novelty purposes. And that'd be it.
There's only 8 games that you can use that with, I believe.
I don't remember.
I'm gonna look.
I
continue.
just remember like in order like if you're playing Mario, you had to like raise your arm up to like jump or something.
Yeah.
And I've never actually used a Power Glove.
I have.
I've just seen videos on it. Well, like while you're talking about that, I'm gonna talk about Dr. Mario. I got Dr. Mario here, and I almost brought Tetris, but to me Tetris is more Game Boy. Like it's available on the NES. They had a port of it. Or they had their version. And actually, I didn't bring any of the 10-gen stuff either to talk about.
So I'm way off. There is a lot of games that Power Glove is compatible with.
Is it?
You ready for this list?
Oh my gosh! Uh-oh.
Alpha Missions, Anticipation, Bad Street Baller, Baseball, Bases Loaded, Blades of Steel, Blaster Master, Bubble Bobble, Castlevania, Castlevania 2, Contra, Deadly Towers, Defender 2, Donkey Kong Jr., Double Dragon, Double Dribble, Gauntlet, Gunsmoke. I'm going to botch this. There's Gradius and Groose. Gyrus. Ice Hockey, Iron Tank, Jackal, Joust, Kid Icarus, Knight Rider, Kung Fu Heroes, Life Force, Metal Gear, Metroid, Mickey Mousecapade, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Nightmare on Elm Street, that's a freaking terrible game, Operation Wolf.
I should have brought Predator because that's a bad game.
Yeah, it is. Platoon, Rad Racer, Racket Attack, Rampage, RC Pro-Amp, RBI, Baseball, Robo Warrior, Ragar, Seacross, Sesame Street 1, 2, 3, Star Force, Super Mario Brothers, Super Glove Ball, yeah, came with it, Superman, Top Gun, Xylophobe, and this one I'm gonna just Xevious. I've never heard of it.
It's Xevious is it's like a shoot 'em up. It's like either top down. I can't remember.
How do you use the glove on that?
You'd move around and you do it. Have you ever seen like the helmet where you like have like the little microphone and like Like
No.
you're flying around and you're like moving around, and then you say fire for when you want to fire. It's really it's pointless, and like your parents would probably yell at you. Shut up. Dr. Mario. As I said, I have Tetris, but I think Tetris is more of a Game Boy type thing. I remember playing Dr. Mario, and it was a cool little puzzler. I don't know where. There's actually a meme going around as of right now when we record this. We're talking about how Mario was like a plumber that all of a sudden started like became a doctor, started prescribing medicine. So like please avoid him at all costs. But I mean, it's a pretty little fun game. I like the matching up of the like the colors and to get rid of the infection or whatnot. So.
I love that game. That is my mother's favorite game of all time.
Dr. Mario.
I played the crap out of it.
Do we need a new one? No, but it'd be kind of cool to have like how like you have smaller games that are being made for like your common era stuff. How cool if like for the Switch for like $5.
How cool would it be as a DLC to have something like that, where you go through a level that's essentially like Dr. Mario level, but there's parts where you have to play Dr. Mario.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like they did with Odyssey, just
Absolutely.
to bring that back.
All right, so we got a couple Capcom games. Capcom, man, they were on fire back then.
Yes.
So we have a couple games from the Disney era. Of course, Chip and Dale, Rescue Rangers, and DuckTales. Both great games, but DuckTales is where my money is. I play the crap out of DuckTales. I loved DuckTales when I was a kid. Both of these have far more expensive sequels. They're on the list.
They are.
Do you want to know where they're at?
On what specific? Like how much, or
all right.
Does it have a rating of where?
DuckTales 2 goes
Isn't it
for
like
$134.
Yeah.
Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2 is $187. When we get through all the games, we're actually going to go through like the more expensive games on the list. But they remastered DuckTales.
Yes.
For more modern consoles. I don't know where you can find that. I have it on the Wii U. They have one for maybe for the PS3, 360 came out for. But then they also, I think on the more modern, it might have been PS4, they released like a game that had like 6 of these, and DuckTales 2 I think was in there. Where you could get like 6 Capcom Disney games on the more modern consoles. But we're gonna go and look at let's go River City Ransom, a cool, awesome side scroller beat 'em up, because this game cracks me up with like the little stubby guys, and they're like running along and they're beating each other up, and then you got blah, and they're making noises and everything. But I used to love side scroll beat 'em ups.
Yeah.
Play that with a friend, like you're playing like I said, like Battle Toads, or I also have the Double Dragons, and then of course you get to the Turtles. For Turtles 2, and then for the later ones you have it wasn't released on this system, but Turtles in Time, it was on the next one. But a lot of fun with River City Ransom that I had. I don't really remember playing it so much when I was like, I can't remember. Did me and Rob play this? I can't remember if he had it. I played it with somebody because we played this, and then we played the Turtles game.
You like
I didn't play it with Yuzuki.
Why not?
Well, because you never offered. You never brought me over. Last game I have here is Ghosts and Goblins from Capcom. Awesome game. One of those, and it's so frustrating because you got to beat it twice. You go through the game and you beat it, and it's so hard. You're going through, and you only get like a couple hits. It's like one hit, and your armor falls off, and then you're like you're in your underwear. If you get hit again, then you die.
Right.
But then you beat the game, and it's like, oh wait, you need to do it all over again, and you're just like, damn them. But this went on to have other games in the series. You had Ghouls and Ghosts on the Super Nintendo, and then I want to say that might have been also on. They had a version on Sega as well.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I played. It might have been on Genesis. I played this. I don't remember. I just know that I actually bought this. I bought this version at a place where we don't like to talk about. Not the.
That's Playground.
Not Devil's Playground, but there's those things you put and listen to music into in the car.
8-track? What are you talking about?
8 tracks.
What are you talking about?
What decade are you in?
It's this one.
Well, okay.
Well, it's cassette tapes, I assume.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, this was just becoming popular back in the 80s. A thing called compact discs.
Oh yeah.
And so there's a land of those around here. And
that's
where I'm at. That's where I bought that. The dude actually gave me like kind of a deal on that. I bought that in a Dreamcast game or something. And got
Positive note: him and his wife are no longer together, so that means that his prices have went down because
Have they?
yeah, because she was the one driving him up.
I haven't even been back in there in a while. So.
He's a real nice guy.
Oh yeah, I mean he usually works with me, but she never would. She
No.
hated it. It's kind of.
Every time I go in there, I tell Joanne, I'm like, I don't want to go in here, but I have to look. And I literally like walk through some of it, and like I just see how crappy the games are. It's like I bought Soul Reaver, and the case was cracked, and I didn't think nothing about it. Well, when I got home, I opened it up, and it was the CD was destroyed. It was in 3 pieces, and that was my own fault. But really, I already owned it, but I didn't have a jewel case, and I wanted the jewel case because it's one of my favorite games. So what I did was that I took everything out, got another jewel case, put everything in that jewel case, took the CD in the other jewel case because she doesn't remember what it was, brought it in there, and I was like, I want my money back. She's like, oh, no, that's a good. She opened it up. She's like, oh, yeah. I was like, why would you buy something that's been stepped on? Like, it was bad. And,
Can't believe she actually like gave you the money back. She
She
didn't like
did.
doing that.
She did. I bought another game, Final Fantasy Tactics.
No, okay. The last thing here on the table that I'm going to talk about is the other console I talked about, the revision of the NES.
I like it.
It is the top loader, and this was released in like 93. It was only on the market for 2 years, something like that.
Every time I see this number, I want to call it Nintendo Service.
Oh, the Nintendo Service. I think it might still be open.
Shall we try?
Nah, I don't know. I'm not calling it. Like, are you gonna call it?
Was it? It's a 800 number,
Yeah.
so we shouldn't get charged.
All right.
Oh, let's just see. Let's see what happens.
1-800-225-3700.
No, that's wrong. It's 255. 255.
Like, what did I say?
225.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jeez, I can't. Like, apparently, that's not what I meant.
All right, let's see what happens.
All right, here we go. Put it on speaker.
Hi. Thank you for calling Nintendo.
It
Let's
works.
connect you to a specialist quickly. Let's get started.
Para asistencia en español, oprima el número 9.
Holy crap! It still works.
That is
What?
awesome. That is
Wow.
so cool.
I thought every time since we've been sitting here, I've been looking. I'm like, I'm gonna call that.
That is so cool. Yeah. Okay. So this no, threw me off. This
Sorry.
is the second. This is the second version of the NES. This was released much later, cheaper. Of course, it's if you're on camera with us. Man,
It was
it's just-
cheaper then, not now.
Well, it was cheaper hardware because they could do
Yeah.
a revision. This was released for $99.
Yep.
And this was released after the Super Nintendo was out. It took a lot of keys from the Super Nintendo, like putting the games up top. That's why they call it the top loader. So all you gotta do is put your game down in there. Boom, you're good to go.
Which is a much more reliable system.
It is because you don't have the contact pins.
Yep.
That could go bad, like you have in the original toaster model. And the only bad thing about this is that these come RF only.
Yes.
So the picture looks bad, sound looks bad, or sounds bad, and you can mod it. I haven't had the balls to do that yet because you actually do have to kind of change. A lot of people, what they do to mod it is that they cut this off, where they have the number that we just called, and that's where they put in their AV stuff. Now, what's funny is that there was actually, I can't remember if there was a problem with some of these when they first came out, and so when you sent them in to get refurbished, they actually put that in for you. So there's some out there that are pre-modded from Nintendo.
Huh.
But if you find one of those, be sure to pick that up. Mine is not. Mine is more reliable than this. I have replaced the pins in here, but it's still finicky. So, but this one fires up almost 97% of the time. Random number I threw out there, I know, but it's higher than 90. It's
Yeah.
a
This
usually,
one's about 60 to 70, in my opinion.
for me, it's less.
Really?
It's like 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Like once you get it going, it looks good and it sounds good, but you better not move it
Yeah.
because it will like totally mess it up. This one, it fires up most of the time. If I get a new NES game, which I have not for a long time because I'm really cold on collecting NES because it's so expensive, and I go and look, but it's like nothing I ever see really. Like I want Castlevania 3, I want Turtles 3, I want the Mega Mans,
Right.
and then I'm kind of good. I don't really.
Right.
There's like you have all the expensive games that we're going to talk about in a minute, but man, I just
It's all for collective purposes. at that
exactly. But this is a really cool model to get. This one was available, as I said, it was only in production for about 2 years, so there's fewer of these on the market than normal. Current prices that I've seen about 50 to 60 for a toaster model,
point. Yep.
and then 100 for the top loader. I paid 90 for this because some of these games I'm showing you, a good friend and a co-host here on the Journey to Comics Network, Veronica, sold me a bunch of her games. But I didn't have a system. She didn't have a system. But I needed the system. I'm like, it's up near Chicago. I'll find a system, no problem. Nope. The only one I found was a top loader. And it was $90.
A little salty.
It was more than one.
It was a good price, but
Well, I mean, it was around. It's actually around that time. It was right where I looked up the price. It was like $90. It's right where it was going for, and I'm like, that's not what I want to pay for it. It's cool. Yes, I would love to get a top loader, but I'm like, hey, this is my only option. If I had an option to get the toaster, I would have got the toaster, and I still wouldn't have a top loader because I've only ever seen 2 since then.
I've seen 3 different ones that are replay,
Yeah.
but it's $99.
Yeah, and it's just a lot. It really is a lot, and and honestly, that's one reason why I haven't modded it, because I am not the mod king or anything like that. I don't know exactly. Like I've seen videos, and it looks so easy to do.
Yeah, but
If I mess it up, then I'm out my top loader.
yeah,
So maybe one day we can do a project and be cool. Maybe do a video on it, but
well, maybe I would not want to. We'd have to get another one. I don't want to tear up one. Like,
well, because if we get another one and we know and then we try it out and it works and it's perfect, cool, we can do another one.
Right.
And then I guess we could both have one because
I plan on RetroPie in it.
RetroPie.
Yeah.
Because some people like to play on the original hardware, and I'm one of those guys. I got my game room set up that way. I got 2 TVs set up for the newer HDMI,
Right.
and then of course you have my older TV that I run S video through for like 4 consoles, and then AV through the other.
My current setup will not allow that,
No.
since everything's kind of in that little nook there.
I've actually seen some older TVs that have a lot of inputs, and that I've been like, I was gonna send it to you because they've either been super cheap or free,
Right.
but it's like, where would you put it?
Yeah, I have nowhere to put it. I mean, I don't mind to have one with just one because I have the splitter, so that wouldn't bother me. But at this point, really, all the stuff that I cannot connect to that television, I can get on a RetroPie
Right.
for a little over $100. I can build it up, and from my knowledge, it's feels exactly the same as the original. So they've come a long way.
There's pluses and negatives to it.
There is.
I'm just a guy that I want to play on the original hardware. If I'm in my living room, I kind of want to like, there's the prospect
Right.
of having a RetroPie or something like that, which I saw somebody mod their Fire Stick and turn their Fire Stick into an emulator,
Huh.
and it runs PS1 games flawlessly,
Wow.
and it runs like NES, Super NES, Game Boy Advance. It runs all that stuff. There's like a whole list of stuff that it runs well. N64 did not run well. Like the frames on GoldenEye just dropped way to the point of unplayability.
Wow.
But they said for some reason, however, the makeup of the PS1 is however the makeup of and the programming of that, it worked fine. It worked fantastic. I'm like, and he sat there and with the Fire Stick, it's Bluetooth capable, so he just got a Bluetooth controller.
That's pretty neat.
I'm just like, interesting. I kind of want to do it.
That would be because that's just a cheap project. I mean, you can get one for $30 now.
Well, I mean, I saw it, and it's literally nothing to just download whatever it needs to take for that and put and like hook it up to your computer to hook up the or actually I think it used actually might have used a little a connection for an SD card. So maybe there was a slight hack to it, but not much.
That'd be something easy we could do. I mean, with retro gaming, you don't need anything more than like 32 gigabytes or 64 gigabyte. SD card. So that's something that
if it works as good as like a Retro Pi, like that's a lot cheaper too.
Right.
I'll have to find that YouTube video before we leave and show you that.
Do that because I'm booting up a certain thing.
Oh yeah. But anyway, is there anything else to add to
the only thing I have to add is that there are some games that we do not own. One of my favorites was Ghostbusters.
Oh, Ghostbusters!
God, that's a great game. There is Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that was one of my first memories of that one, of the Nintendo.
Okay, so we have the list here
Yes, the list.
of most expensive stuff on the console.
Little Samson.
He's on the list.
Oh, I know he is.
The Nintendo World Championship Gold.
Really? That's the top dog?
That is the top dog here on price charting.
Does it have number of releases?
No, it just says like these are just the entrants here. So the top three, number one is Nintendo World Championship Gold. And then the number two is Nintendo Campus Challenge 1991. Number three is Nintendo World Championship card.
Wow.
So Nintendo World Championship Gold goes for $26,677.
Heart attack. Nope, you can keep it.
Nintendo Campus Challenge goes for $20,100. Nintendo World Championship $15,000. Family Fun and Fitness Stadium Events
Yes.
goes for $10,100. Zelda Test Cartridge $2,000.
They say the test cartridge.
Cheetahman 2 $1,600. Control Deck Test Cartridge. That for the repair guys.
Yeah.
That's what they would put in there, and
Yep.
it would be like a little. What's the right word I'm looking for? Gosh darn it!
Not tutorial, but
Not a tutorial, but like it would do sound tests and all that stuff.
Right.
You know, and maybe like a configuration type thing. Bubble Bath Babes. That was a game where like you played cards or you did a puzzle thing, and then you got pictures of naked girls and in a bathtub.
wow.
$1,395. Myriad 6-in-1, $12.99. DuckTales Gold Cartridge, $1,200. Little Samson, $1,099. It's gone up.
Yeah.
Peekaboo Poker,
Peekaboo.
$990. Sharp Nintendo NES TV. It was the one with the built-in NES, $950.
We saw that picture of that.
Yep.
So it had it up north, and that it was cheaper than that.
Yeah, well, I mean, typically they do sell a little bit cheaper at disc replay than what's going right for kind of online prices. Flintstones Surprise at Dinosaur Peak, $669. Bonk's Adventure, $510.
That's the one. Is that the clown?
No, Bonk is like the little kid with like, and he jumps and he.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep. I can't remember the name of the clown.
Panic Restaurant, $499. And then you have like Nintendo NES Deluxe Set console. It's like the whole box. It's like $393. Power Blade 2, $360. Zombie Nation, $312. Another test cartridge. Mega Man 9 press kit. That was a newer release that came out, but it's not. I don't think it's the actual game. No. Okay. So what it is, I don't know if this is actually going to show a bigger picture of it. But you could actually pre-order it and buy it, and it came in like the case was like cart.
Huh.
But it was very limited in number. So it wasn't an actual NES release, but kind of thing. Bubble Bobble Part 2, we talked about that. $387. Dragon Fighter 275, Cowboy Kid 269, Kid Clown, and Nightmare World 258.
Huh.
And is that the one you were talking about?
I think
that,
it is.
That one?
Might be.
Pretty expensive. I mean, not the most expensive one on here.
No.
That one gave you about gave you a heart attack.
Gold cart. I can't believe that.
There's the Game Genie top loader adapter for you to be able to use your Game Genie on the top loader.
Top loader?
$200.
Would the one that went inside of it not work? In the toaster?
I don't know if it really would or not. I don't know. That's a good question. I've never seen it.
I haven't either.
Top loading NES console, $105. Contra Force, the one game that I said I didn't own of this, $98.
That's the reason why you don't own it.
Yeah, that's the big reason why I don't own that game. But yeah, dude, I love the NES, man. But yeah, man, collecting for it just kind of shot through the roof. There are some people who have complete collections, but I have like 66 as far as my app said. I kind of detailed maybe like what 7 more, 9 more with the Mega Man's, Castlevania, Turtles. And I'm pretty content, man.
Yeah, there's not too much. Most of what you have here, other than like Ghostbusters, which you didn't bring with you. Do you have that one?
No, I don't. I would have brought it. I don't own Ghostbusters. I don't own any Indiana Jones games or anything like that. But
I think the Ghostbusters is one I would pick up.
as I said, I've been a little bit light on it, man. I've been light on collecting NES. I haven't bought. I can't even tell you last time I bought an NES game. It's been a long time. Are you just looking at yourself in the camera, watching yourself like twitch around?
No, I'm watching. Watch to see if you can see it.
No. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for us today. With the NES, we covered it here with all these games, all these stories. And it's a great console to get if you got the money for it, man. It's kind of an expensive thing right now.
But a lot of the games that you want are not that expensive. Like Super Mario Brothers is $12, or Super Mario 3 is $12. Super Mario Bros. With Duck Hunt is $10. I mean, the system's 50 to 60, somewhere around in there.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
for the big hitters, yeah, it's not terrible. But when you start, I'm going to collect, be prepared.
and of course, I mean, another iteration we didn't talk about was the NES Classic. I
Yes.
don't own it.
I don't either.
It was available for $50. I heard they're going to make it available in the summer of 18 again, which, I mean, there's a lot of good games on that Classic. I mean, it's
There is.
and it hooks up to your new TVs with HDMI, so really cool pickup for those people. And of course, you still see them on the buy-sell trades for way more.
$150 piece.
Yeah, come on, that's crazy.
And then you see people with the Super NES.
And that's like way more available.
Yeah, and I can go into Best Buy right now, this very second, and they'll have 8 in our local one just sitting in front of the store because they got it right when you walk in the door. They
Yeah.
just have a display of them, and it's usually as tall as me. I've never seen them not there. And I go in there every time we go to Barnes and Nobles because, well,
Tit for tat.
Yeah, she likes to read. I like the game.
Exactly. Anyway, thank you guys for checking us out. If this was your first time, you can check us out on a lot of different podcast services. Of course, we're on Podbean. Thank you guys for featuring us this week. And you can check us out and download us on iTunes. We're on the Podbean app, of course. We're on Stitcher Radio. We're on Google Play Music. I wouldn't recommend Google Play Music. I messed with it, and it's kind of like wonky. I didn't like it. But we're there if that's the one you want to choose. We're also on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com and check out the Game Addicts podcast. We do video where we have the whole table full of games. And, I mean, it's not the best, most suitable setup in the world, but we got a camera, we got some lights, we got some mics, we got some games. So let's talk about them. And we're on social media. We're on Game Addicts Podcast on Facebook, Game Addicts Play on Twitter and Instagram, where you can find pictures of stuff that we post. And all that kind of jazz. I take pictures usually of when we do an episode. Sometimes that ends up being the thumbnail because it's like the best thing that I can come up with.
I bet this will be a thumbnail.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks good.
But I want to thank you guys if this is your first time to check out. We upload every single Thursday at around 6 in the morning or whatever. So we're up right there for your commute into work. That's 6 Eastern time. So if you want to check us out and then just subscribe, we'll download immediately to your phone every Thursday, and you can hear our sweet, lovely voices in your ears as we savor the flavors and the aromas of games. That's funny.
Yes, because we do open a new game.
Well, there's that, but okay. So me and my wife watched this. We watched this YouTube channel called Townsend's,
Yeah.
and they're like this 18th century reenactment type channel
Huh.
where they cook food from back then using the methods from back then and all this kind of stuff. And he ends all his videos with savoring the flavors and the aromas of the 18th century. So I just completely stole that because I'm like, what am I going to say? I'm going to go right into Townsend's and savor the flavors and the aromas of these NES cartridges. I didn't smell anything.
I was going to say, at this point, the new smell is gone.
No, it's quite old. But yeah, dude, I didn't really tell my NES collection stories. I told one of them about Veronica. What's funny is I bought that one, and I got 19 games, and I think I paid her like $100 for all 19 of them. And then I got that, and I got the Zapper, I got the controllers, I got a few boxes and manuals, and then we like tallied it up, and for $100 I got $230 worth of stuff.
It's a good deal.
And then a few weeks later, not supposed to be spending more money because I spent a lot of money on that trip up there. Not just buying NES stuff, I bought other stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I may or may not have gotten in a little bit of trouble for that one.
Yeah.
You
I think
okay?
I remember that.
So here we are a few weeks later. It's about Black Friday, I think. And we're hanging out with our good friends, Silent Rob and Silent Gretchen. And we are just, hanging out and having a good time. And then I see a Craigslist post for somewhere near us, it's about an hour away from where I live. And for $60, he has the toaster console that I have here and 29 games. He said the toaster console did not work, just needs some new pins, just trying to get rid of it. And out of the games, it was kind of hard to look and see what they all were. But I'm like, man, out of those that are already there, that already makes up the $60. So I look at her and I give her the puppy dog eyes, my wife. And I'm like, look, there's like 29 games here. I'm like, I can buy this and turn around and take those other ones and flip them and get my money back.
Right.
Which I didn't. But
that is the exact same thing I say. Well, I buy all this, and there's some games in there that I won't want, so I can flip them and get my money back. And she's like, "Oh, okay, if that's what you're gonna do." It never happens. Never.
So out of the 29 games, I think it was 4 or 5 of them. I can't remember how many. It was 4 or 5 of those games were the only duplicates, and all the rest of them were brand new to my collection.
That's pretty good.
Crazy. And then so I went and so I contacted the dude, and he's like, yeah, we can meet at my house over there. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that, man. Okay, fine. And then he's like, I message him like later on in the week, and I'm like, hey, are we still good on for Saturday? And he goes, yeah, but I just remembered I'll be out of town, so my dad will be there. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't know. So we go. And I walk up to the door, and I knock on it. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here for the games." And the guy goes, "Oh yeah, they're back here in the back." I'm like, I'm like walking to this guy's house, and I'm like, he's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
I'm dead. This is all a trap. Kill me or rape me, and I just at that point just kill me.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell that story. So I get to the back, and they're all on the floor, and his room is so dark. And he had like a gaming rig in there, like a PC rig. And I lean down, open it up to see if I can't even see very well in there. And I'm like, all right, that's mostly here. So I give him the money and I leave. And I'm just like, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. And the town that we were in had a local Hardee's, so we stopped there because it seemed like a safe ground.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to put down the town, but it was kind of run down in the spot that we were at, and I was a little nervous. I was nervous in the house. I mean, come on. But then it's like, all right, I think we'll be safe at Hardee's. This is technology here. It's not run down.
Right.
It's actually pretty nice looking. So we're there, and I start looking at everything. I'm like, okay, this is here, this is here. Holy crap, this is awesome. A lot of games. And so I start looking on my phone at price charting at what I paid for the $60, and then how much of the games I had. And for $60, I got over $300 worth of games. Yeah. I mean, those are some of my bigger deals that I ever did, and they were they added the biggest, like, okay, so think about it. I added 19 games, and then 24 or 25 games.
Yeah.
So the right then and there, like,
That's your collection.
pretty much, and then now it's up to like 66.
Yeah.
So I've bought a few more here and there, but I got a lot, and I mean, there's a lot that I didn't even bring because it was like I don't know what else to say. Like, what do you say about Arkanoid? I mean, it's a great, cool game, but it's like, yeah, it's Arkanoid.
Yeah.
I got nothing else to say. But man, so we've already done the exit. So I'm gonna do it again, really quick. Check us out on all that other stuff, man. Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, YouTube. Check us out on the Facebook, Twitters, all that stuff. All those links are down below in our description, so you can check us out there. If you want to get these episodes early, go to the patreon.com/journeyintocomics. We're part of their network. For $1 a month, you get our episodes right when they're edited, right when we're done with them. So up to a week. So I'm not going to put so we're recording this episode a few weeks early, just to go ahead and get it done. But I'm not going to put it up right away. That's going to be within a week out. I try to keep it at that, so that way, it's nice and orderly and not like a bunch of just stuff going up randomly. So
Yeah.
With that being said, we are here every single Thursday for your enjoyment on the Game Addicts podcast. And until then, I'm Brando.
And I am Mike.
We'll see you next week, guys. Have a good one.